listened, yeah, I sure have. When you said you loved me, I should have picked up and ran. Grabbed my unicycle and rode to Japan. Hang out with some geisha girls, sing karaoke and get a tattoo. Do everyone and everything to forget about you. Yeah. Every time I see you walking out my door, I wanna grab a frying pan and lay you out on the floor. That filth you talk, that stench just flies out of you. I should have listened, yeah, I sure have. Said you loved me, I should have picked up and ran. Grabbed my unicycle and rode to Japan. Hang out with some geisha girls, sing karaoke and get a tattoo. Do everyone and everything to forget about you. every time I see you walking out my door. I wanna grab a frying pan and lay you out on the floor. That filth you talk, that stench just flies out of you. I should have listened, yeah, I should have. When you said you loved me, I should have picked up and ran. Grabbed my unicycle and rode to Japan.
So here we are again. Welcome I've got this one viewer here, and I have to say, kudos, hats off to you. Not sure who you are. Never wrote anything in the chat, but that's cool. That's cool. What can I say? A lot of stuff going on today. Just like every day, things are going on. I heard today that here, where I'm at, there was a demonstration, and I was told about 20,000 people came out and demonstrated against the shutdowns, the stay-at-home orders, the masks, and you name it. Yeah, they were out there on the streets demonstrating. Not sure how you feel about that. Maybe you feel that they're putting more people at risk, or maybe you side with them. Yeah, it's hard to say because nobody says anything, at least not in here. So, one story that came out that I saw today, and I think it's been making its rounds. I think a lot of people have already seen it. I think it took place in California about a police officer pounding on a 14-year-old child. And this was captured on somebody's cell phone. And we don't know the complete whole story, but what we do know, apparently, is he first approached the child because of tobacco products. That's what it says. Didn't say that the kid was smoking, although that's probably what it was. They used the phrase tobacco products. So the story here is a California cop pins unarmed black boy on the ground, punches him repeatedly in the chest. Yeah. Oh, there's a picture of it right there. That's a big guy. That's a big guy, a big police officer. He's even has a bulletproof vest. Obviously, he outweighs the child by, I don't know, how heavy is a child? Maybe 40 pounds? 40, 50 pounds? And this officer must be, 200? 210? 190? And this is the only way he could subdue a 14-year-old boy. I'm not sure what's going on. A disturbing viral video of a white police officer in Northern California pinning a 14-year-old black boy on the ground and repeatedly punching him in the chest during an arrest for cigarette possession has sparked outrage online. Well, the boy broke the law. He's got what's coming to him, yeah? What's the legal age for smoking in California? 21, 18, or whatever it is. We know it's not 14. So the boy deserves it. Is that what you think? I'd like to hear about it. The footage was shared on social media by the boy's family. It showed the unnamed Rancho Cordovo police officer striking the teen repeatedly as he struggles on the ground. The officer at some point pinned the boy on his neck. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty brutal. Yeah, that is pretty brutal. There is not one reason that validates a full-sized armed man to sit on, punch, and try to break the arms of a child. Black Lives Matter Sacramento wrote Tuesday on Twitter. Daily News reported, Black Lives Matter. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that group. How do you feel about that group? I don't know. Let's see, what else here? Here we go. Rancho Cordovo Police Department has opened an internal investigation. That is what they always do. Yeah, these police departments, they open up an internal investigation. So basically, they are, handling the investigation on their own. That's not really neutral now, is it? That's not neutral. We all have heard about the thin blue line. And it's not too often that a police officer will go against the Klan. So whatever investigation takes place, it doesn't really hold a lot of water. I mean, who are these people? Who do they think they're kidding here? Don't worry, we'll investigate it ourselves. Has opened an internal investigation into the worrying footage and also cited the boy for possession of a tobacco product. This type of situation is hard on everyone. The young man who resisted arrest and the officer who would much rather have him cooperate. Sure you would. You're an authority figure. You expect people to cooperate. Do you expect people to jump up and sound like a chicken just because you command them to? The community should know our deputies have a heart for the Rancho Cordovo community, especially for the youth they serve through the schools. PAL Sports and our new youth center, Sacramento County Sheriff Sergeant Tess Dettering said in a statement. Dettering added, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office and Rancho Cordovo Police Department, however, have proactively started an investigation into the use of force by our deputy in order to gain a complete and thorough understanding of the events that took place during this incident. What really do you need to know? What really do you need to know? Do we even have to have an investigation here? I mean, we'll take a look at the video, but just looking at the photo, what do you need to know? Basically, what we know from this photo is this 200-pound plus officer was unable to subdue a 14-year-old child without punching him and pinning him to the ground and saying, "God damn it, kid, you better fucking son of a..." And all because the boy had a cigarette. Maybe more than one. But that's kind of irrelevant. No? Don't you think that's irrelevant? Yeah, he was smoking a cigarette. Okay. So I don't even think they need to have an internal investigation and a thorough understanding of the events that took place during this incident. What understanding do you need to know? The police officer saw the kid smoking. He confronted the kid. The kid probably said, "Fuck you, pig," which he has every right to do. And of course, the officer, being an authority figure, is not going to put up with that, especially from a young punk. This kid probably is a young punk, a disrespectful punk. Probably, I don't know, but that's my guess. And so the officer continued this until we reach this conclusion. Detering said the video has been viewed nearly 180,000 times and sparked anger and accusation of racism and police brutality against blacks, adding people of color online must put video footage into context, especially in relation to the use of force incident. In this case, the deputy saw what he believed to be a handheld exchange between an adult and a juvenile. As the deputy turned around, he lost sight of the adult who left the area. When the deputy approached the juvenile was uncooperative and refused to give the deputy basic identifying information. What's your name? Fuck you. Where do you live? It's none of your business. Now, I don't know what the legal, the legality of it for a minor. But for anyone over 18 years old, you have every right not to speak to the police. In fact, it's the best thing if you didn't speak to the police. What's your name? It's none of your business. Where are you going? It's none of your business. Where did you come from, officer? Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. However, I do have things I need to do. Thank you very much. So apparently there was a hand-to-hand exchange between an adult and a juvenile. He lost sight of the adult, and so he approached the child. So maybe, it sounds like, we're starting to picture this together, It sounds like the kid said, hey, man, can I have a cigarette? And the guy said, sure, here you go, kid. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, you're welcome. And he walked away, and the deputy lost sight of him. And so he went to the child instead. Really good police work there. Really good, officer. But the founder of Black Lives Matter Sacramento, Tanya Fison, told The Guardian the officer should not only be fired, but needs to be charged and convicted. And that is the only way these things will stop happening. He was 10 times the size of the boy, Fison said. He was armed. He was huge. The boy was tiny. He was clearly trying to protect his face. There was nothing an unarmed 14-year-old can do to validate the actions that this officer took. Well, I would have to agree on that point. Yeah, there's really not much a 14-year-old unarmed child, unless it's like a reincarnation of Bruce Lee or something. He might be able to do some damage. But needless to say, he wasn't, I guess. So there's really not much. Really, what could justify it? Is there anything that could justify this? I would really like to hear from anybody who feels that the officer was justified in the actions that he took. Because it really doesn't look like it. Yeah. And it doesn't sound like, and all for smoking a cigarette. No, it's not for smoking a cigarette. It's for questioning authority. That's what this is about. If the boy would have, when the police officer came to him, if the boy would have, oh yeah, I took here, officer, I took this cigarette from the guy, he gave it to me. If he would have done that, and if he would have told the officer where he lived, what his name is, what he's doing here, then there would have been no problem. If he would have complied, there would be no problem. This wouldn't have happened. But the 14-year-old boy, who apparently, has got some guts, or he's just a really disrespectful punk, decided not to comply. And that is something the officers cannot take. Refusing an order that they give, whether it's lawful or not. Most of the time, it's not a lawful order that they're giving you. That's what really gets to them. Can validate the action. In a tweet, Senator Kamala Harris of California described the footage as a horrible abuse of power. Meanwhile, the teenager, identified as Elijah Tufono, has been speaking about the incident. He's on top of me, and it looks like he's about to hit me. Like, I'm reacting like any other normal human being would, he told Fox 40. It could have been better on both our parts in this situation. Yeah. Boy, did that child really use these? I'm reacting like any other normal human being would. Sounds like he was coached on that. Yeah. I'm acting like anybody would. That would probably be more, you know. It could have been better on both of our parts in this situation. He said, lie to him. Officer and I didn't cooperate, and I know that I made that mistake. But that didn't give him no right to do what he did. Okay. So yeah, apparently, he lied to the officer or didn't cooperate. And I know that I made that mistake. I really wouldn't call it a mistake, kid. I wouldn't call it a mistake. So let's take a look at this video. Maybe you haven't seen it. I saw it. I watched it very shortly. And yeah, boy, it's the size comparison is just unbelievable. Here, let's take a look here.
Bro. Stop, bro. What's your password? What's your... Stop, Josh, stop. Stop, bro. Stop, Josh, stop.
So apparently it sounds like people who are watching this are telling the child to stop, maybe, or they're telling the cop to stop. But as you see, the cop took a swing. He took a swing at the child. Here, I'm moving it in very slow motion here. Look at that. Whoop. Grabs his head, pushes his head down to the ground, got his hand on the back of his neck, putting his weight on the child right there. He pulls his hand back, he clenches his fist, and look at that. He takes a swing right at the boy's face. It's not like he's trying to punch him in the arm. He's trying to hit him in the face. And he just barely missed the kid's face. This is a 14-year-old boy. Let's take a look at that.
Bro. What's your password? What's your... Don't do this, bro. Stop, Josh, stop. Stop, bro. Stop, Josh, stop. Stop hitting him, bro. Just stop.
Yeah, stop, Josh. Stop hitting him, bro. So they're telling the kid to stop. Although I really don't see what the kid is doing. I really don't see what the kid is doing here. And then they're telling the officer to stop hitting him. He didn't really land too many punches, but I think he hit him once or twice in the chest area. And he flips him over. And the way he flips him over, it's quite obvious that this is like a Samson and Goliath here. I mean, he is flipping this kid around like a freaking rag doll. Yeah? So you can obviously tell, you know, the strength and the size comparison between the two. And it's quite clear that this cop is power hungry. He doesn't like to be told no. He doesn't like to be questioned, especially from a 14-year-old kid. Yeah? And that is what the main issue is here. A, it's because he did not comply, and B, it's because he's young. Now he's a 14-year-old kid. Now, I don't know how old you are, but I've always taught my kids, and it's kind of a touchy situation here. Do you respect people because just because they're older than you? I think you give them a chance. Yeah, you give them the benefit of the doubt that they're a decent person to start with. And once you find out that they're not, then no, you don't respect them. Doesn't matter how old they are. Doesn't matter what they've seen in their life. If they're a dickhead, they're a dickhead, period. Yeah? When it comes to authority, no, you do not respect authority just because they are an authority. And that also goes with teachers. No, you do not. And you do not accept everything they say just because it's coming from an authority figure. Absolutely not. Listen, listen, listen. Listen to what they say. Think about it yourselves. You know, do some research on your own, especially when it comes to schools. You know, quick thing here. You've probably seen this. I do now have a Skype call-in line link right there. So we have the Skype call-in line and the Discord call-in line. So if anybody would like to participate and call in and say whatever they want to say, well, they're more than welcome to. Whatever they want to say. Like this group here. Like this group. Where is that group? Where is it? I think it's right here. Yeah, right group. Yeah, this group. Whoa. Well, where did this happen? New York? This happened in New York? No, couldn't have happened in New York, really. California. Huh, boy, again in California. We got some protesters in California about these face masks and the lockdown rules and whatnot like that. And they're protesting. Well, they're not really protesting in a group, but apparently they went into a supermarket and they wore their masks, but attached to their masks, very big, was the swastika. Well, why would they do that? What the hell? Lockdown protesters wear masks with swastikas on them in video posted on far-right conspiracy theory forum. Watch the video. Now, I haven't watched this video, and maybe we will later, but I'm just kind of looking at the headlines. Why do you think they did it? Do you think they did it because they're neo-Nazis? They're Nazis? Or do you think they did it because they are protesting because of the actions which the state has taken is a lot like Nazis, Nazi Germany? Let's see. Coronavirus lockdown protesters wore swastika face masks while shopping at a grocery store in California and called Governor Gavin Newsom a Nazi and posted of the incident online. So yeah, okay. Apparently they think he's a Nazi for doing the actions that he's done. Closing down beaches, closing down stores, and creating the social distancing rules, crazy lockdown rules. And these people think he's acting like a Nazi. And I have not heard anything counter to that. Because to me, a lot of these rules are very Nazi-ish. Nazidom. What other words can we make with Nazi? Yeah, exactly. Crazy. Dustin Hart, identified as a man in the video, uploaded the 14-minute clip online on Saturday. He said, "The crazy rules are destroying any quality of life we had left." I wonder what his life was like before. That's a good question. The video posted to BitChute. BitChute. I've never heard of this. I'm going to have to find out about that. Okay. A video hosting service which reportedly appeals to the far right states in its description, we were peacefully protesting all of the crazy lockdown rules that have been and are continuing to be enforced here in San Diego, California. These crazy rules are destroying any quality of life we had left. Now we are unemployed and literally have nothing better to do and nowhere else we were allowed to be. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about just wearing a mask that says "fuck you" on it, but I mean, if I wore a mask like this in Germany, boy, I'd tell you, man, within 4 minutes, cops would be around me. People would be calling the cops right away. During the video, as reported by the Times of San Diego, Hart says, "We have a Nazi for a governor. Now you guys are here, literally proving my point. I'm just standing here doing my shopping, he tells a store employee who calls his mask a hate crime, not causing any issues. Hart offers to take off the mask if you don't like it, as a store employee offered him another one. Go for it, man. Take it off when I'm checking out. Hart told the employee, but later announces he's not taking it off. It's my First Amendment right, Hart said in the video. There's no signs that says I can't decorate my mask the way I want. This is America, the land of the free. Yeah. A sheriff's deputy told Hart in the video that Food for Less, a store where they were, was family friendly. They don't want people seeing that, the sheriff tells Hart. Oh my God. It's offensive to people. If you want to do that outside, it's perfectly fine. But in a private store, they can make their own rules. Apparently they can't. Apparently they can't make their own rules. The governor of New York makes them for them. Hart wasn't arrested and was heard in the video telling deputies, I would just like to go back to work. All I get to do is sit home and fester. I want to get out of my house and go to work and to be productive. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department said in a statement, when deputies asked for a symbol to be removed, the man complied. Okay. Sheriff's investigators will continue to look into the matter. The Sheriff's Department does not condone hate or acts of intolerance. We are a county that is welcoming of people from all backgrounds. Okay, let's go back here. So he's wearing a swastika mask, and this time he's doing it not because he agrees or supports Nazis, but to make a point that the orders and the government under which he is living, which is in California, are acting like Nazis. He tried to explain himself, which I can understand. The person working at the supermarket who asked him to remove it or would offer him a different one, yeah, I guess they just didn't see his point, what he was trying to get at. I mean, it's quite clear what he's trying to, it's quite clear. His message is quite clear. But maybe to this person, it just wasn't clear enough. Family friendly, yes. And what the deputy said, that this is a private place and they could make their own rules. Yeah, it's offensive. He said, it's offensive to people. If you want to do that outside, it's perfectly fine. In a private store, they can make their own rules. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And if the store's own rules are you have to wear a swastika, then fine. Then fine. I, for one, would definitely not be visiting that supermarket. It would freak me out. But if that's what that store wants to do, then fine. I mean, the officer said it. It's perfectly fine. In a private store, they can make their own rules. We all know that's bullshit. We all know that is a bullshit statement. You cannot make your own rules, even if you own your own private store. There are regulations that have been handed down upon high that you must follow, even if you have sunk your whole life savings into a store and you're hoping it's going to do well. You have this vision in your mind. You've dreamed for this your whole life. And now you're told what you can and what you can't do in your own store, which you've built with your own two hands. You've invested your whole life savings in this. That's ridiculous. You can make your own rules if it's a private store. If that were the case, then we would have stores bars that would allow smoking. Yeah? This is a smoking establishment, period. I don't care about your rules and regulations and your new laws. If it's a private store and I can make my own rule, then what's the issue here? This is all ridiculous. Now they're just using that. And you really think if you want to do that outside, it's perfectly fine? You really think that's the case? That's bullshit too. He would get arrested right away. He would get cited. Hate. Insinuating a riot. You name it. Yeah? Acts of intolerance he would be fined for. They would find a way, for sure. Let me see. What else is there on this story? The incident comes a week after another California was pictured wearing a Ku Klux Klan style hood at a grocery store. Oh, that's this guy. Oh my God. Well, you know, that's one cool thing, you know. I mean, it's a funny place. America's a funny place. You know, people are funny. You know, makes life interesting, yeah. The man was seen wearing the white nationalist garb on a day after San Diego County made face covers mandatory in public. That's a good idea. You know, I was thinking perhaps if I have to go outside, I'll wear a football helmet or something like that, or a stormtrooper helmet or something. Pictures taken from the Vons supermarket show the man wearing the hood inside the store, wearing it as he pushed his cart around. The man was repeatedly asked by employees to remove the hood while shopping, but only did so when he was in the checkout line. People were outraged by the incident, with police, the mayor, and others saying the symbol of hate will not be tolerated. Well, be more clear on your stupid laws that you want people to follow, you idiots. Yeah? Be a little bit more clear. A day after San Diego made face coverings mandatory in public. Okay. It's funny, no? It's quite comical. I wonder, I'm sure there are other pictures of people out there, you know, where, like I said, wearing stormtrooper masks or something like that, and a face covering. I wonder exactly, you know, does it have to cover just the front of your face, the front and the back, or does it have to cover your whole head? I mean, couldn't you just walk around with a Wolfman mask, Halloween mask, as a face covering? I mean, that would be kind of cool. We could really kind of, you know, dwell into the purge aspect of this, and everybody wears something really creepy because things are getting really creepy. Might as well really go for it. You know, hold nothing back. So, anyway, what else do I got here for you? Yeah, this is another one. Maybe this whole thing is a primer. Oh, hey, do you want to watch that video? You want to see what that video looks like? Let's take a quick peek at part of it, yeah, and see exactly what the guy has to say, the confrontation here. Like I said, I have not watched it or anything. So, but we can
I got it on. Okay.
He'll be on the internet later.
Yeah, no, I got my body cam on. It's cool.
It's got on. It's got his body cam on.
What? Why not?
It's basically a hate crime.
It's not a hate crime. They can wear the Antifa communist thing. And if they're going to act like a bunch of Nazis and have Governor Newsom enforce all these Nazi laws, then it is what it is. It's a peaceful protest. This is America.
Yeah.
Land of the free. Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
Well, as of right now, I mean, the guy sounded fairly, you know, articulate. He told them why he was doing it. If I was the employee, I'd say, good idea, guy. Didn't think of that. And now we have the deputy or a sheriff coming up to him and let's see exactly what this discussion will relay.
Again today.
So, you probably know why we're here.
No, I'm surprised actually.
So,
I didn't.
They asked you to take that off because.
Well, they told me to put it on first, actually.
No, I know, because you have this part right here. So, they asked you to take that off.
I told them I would take it off when I check out.
I know, but then we have this whole rule thing with the whole face mask thing because of COVID-19.
Well, I mean, it's just Velcro. I could just.
So, are you willing to take that off?
Yeah, I told them when I check out, I'll just take the Velcro right off.
They're not allowing it in the store because it's a family-friendly store. They don't want people seeing that. It's offensive to people. Okay, well, this is a private store and they don't allow it. So if you want to go do that outside, that's completely fine. I get it. But they're asking you, it's offensive in the store.
It's just discrimination.
Okay, but this is their private store. You can take it up with Food for Less Management if you want to at a later time. Do you understand
Or
that?
can I ask them? Can I talk to the Food for Less Management?
I think you guys already talked about it, but I don't want another disturbance to happen with you guys. Do you have your ID on you? If you're not under like any kind of trouble or anything, we just want to...
Do you have your ID on you? Of course they're going to ask that question. Now, of course, the guy is within every right to say no, even if he does. He has every right to lie to this guy. This guy is trying to find anything he can to arrest this guy. And again, the guy wearing the mask is a very polite individual. And he sounds like he's really up on this topic here. Yeah, he's very articulate. He's non-confrontive, peaceful, quiet. He has not raised his voice one bit.
Document the incident, sir.
Hold on, I just want to pay attention to what they're talking about.
There must have been some.
Okay, I guess that's it. I'm not sure exactly what happened. Oh, God, Kim Kardashian. As another video pops up. I don't want to watch the video. Thank you. Goodbye. God, people are so much into that shit. So, it sounded like a fairly calm, interaction between the two. And so, it is what it is. I applaud the man for doing this. It is a peaceful protest. And hopefully it brings awareness to what people are truly supporting. Yeah. When they support these stay-at-home and draconic rules and laws. But as I was going to start saying, is I found something else. And maybe this is a primer. Maybe this coronavirus is a primer. And we already had in America at least a one-time $1,200 payout with hints and whispers of perhaps there'll be another one. And now there's a new bill that's being brought out by some Democrats, 3 Democratic senators, and they've pitched this concept. And it's an idea that every American, just about, would receive a $2,000 monthly coronavirus stimulus check for up to 90 days after pandemic. They would be receiving the money just like an unemployment check, $2,000 every 90 days. This is kind of this is something that, I mean, already the Democratic Party is scrambling. And I mentioned this a couple of days ago, that the Democrats at that point, obviously, apparently they don't want to win the presidency because they have Joe Biden. Yeah, what's wrong with them? But something like this, boy, this would gander a lot of votes. A lot of people would vote Democrat, no matter who was running, if something like this were to actually go through. And of course, Bernie Sanders is one of them. Yeah, obviously. He would like to see America become socialist. And that exactly is what this is. It is a socialist concept. We're going to give you money to stay at home. 3 Democrat senators have pitched the monthly Economic Crisis Support Act, which will be released on Friday, Politico reported. The act is being pitched by Senators Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Ed Markey. If the legislation is passed, Americans who make less than $120,000 would receive a monthly check of $2,000. Are you employed? Are you employed? How many people do you know that makes $10,000 a month? Americans who make less than $120,000. That's a lot of people. Yeah? That's just about every middle class, yeah, working individual. They make less than $10,000 a month. And those are the people who go out and vote. Married couples who file their taxes together would receive $4,000, and $2,000 would be provided for each child up to 3 years old. Harris told Politico that the bill is a reflection that Congress' previous efforts were not nearly enough to meet the needs of this historic crisis. Well, why did you vote for it, you fools? If it wasn't near enough. We all know it's not near enough. Any idiot would know it's not near enough. $1,200? $1,200 after you take away somebody's employment? You think it's not near enough? Obviously, people for some reason think that politicians are smarter than they are. People think that politicians have an inside track on information. They don't, and they're not. Everybody out there who saw this $1,200 stimulus or support knew at that time that what the hell is this? What is this? You take away my job, you take away my livelihood, and you give me $1,200? You really think that's enough? Nobody knew. Nobody thought that was enough, that was anything. But now they're coming out and say, well, it's not nearly enough to meet this historic crisis. Markey told the outlet that the checks would be the most direct and efficient mechanism for delivering economic relief to those most vulnerable. Congress has a responsibility to make sure that every working-class household in America receives a $2,000 emergency payment a month for each family member. No, it is not the responsibility of Congress. It is not your responsibility. Do you also think it's your responsibility? Do you also think that it's Congress's responsibility to make sure that everybody has internet? That everybody has a 4K television? It's not their responsibility. That is not what Congress is for. But for the last 30 years, that's the role that they've been playing. And that's the role that we have given them, to be our mothers and our fathers, because we, the uneducated citizens, are not intelligent enough to make our own decisions. This is a role that we have placed upon them, and we've accepted it. The cash would be retroactive to March and would keep flowing until 3 months after the Health and Human Services Department has declared the public health emergency is over. It would also be untouchable by debt collectors, and Americans would receive the checks whether or not they have a Social Security number and filed taxes last year. Okay, wait a minute here. It would also be untouchable by debt collectors. Okay, that makes sense. And Americans would receive the checks whether or not they have a Social Security number. If you're an American, you have a Social Security number, no? Do you know an American who doesn't have a Social Security number? I don't know. Someone needs to educate me on that. I'm not quite sure. The introduction of the bill came on the same day that unemployment in the U.S. reached 14.7%, the highest it has been since the Great Depression. However, Donald Trump played down the numbers on Friday, saying that they were totally expected. Yeah, you make these rules, you have these governors shut down all the businesses in all the states, it's going to be expected. That's quite clear. The Bureau of Labor Statistics also said more than 20 million Americans lost their jobs in April amid the coronavirus pandemic. Appearing on Fox and Friends, Trump said the unemployment rate was expected. It's fully expected. There's no surprises. Everyone expects that, he said. Even the Democrats aren't blaming me for that. What I can do is I can bring it back, he added. Trump continued, speaking on the economy being at the peak before the coronavirus, which was true. I mean, I guess it was true. Before the coronavirus, apparently in the U.S., the economy was booming. Yeah, unemployment was at an all-time low. Things apparently were incredibly prosperous. People were doing well. And then the coronavirus came. And I need to be really clear on this, because every time I see this really pisses me off. Every time I see an article, whether it be in the paper or whether it be on the television or I hear it on the radio or I see it on the internet, they all fuck this up, because they all say the coronavirus has caused blah, 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 blah. That is incorrect. The only thing the coronavirus did is kill some people. It did not cause the unemployment rate to skyrocket. It did not cause the economic crisis which we are in. The coronavirus did not do this. It doesn't have the capability of doing this. It can't make laws. It can't pass regulations. It can't do these things. People do these things. Politicians do these things. The coronavirus did none of it. But yet, every time you read a headline, coronavirus causes blah, blah, blah. Coronavirus causes blah, blah, blah. Poor little virus. It didn't do any of this. It gets a pretty bad rap, I guess, if you look at it that way. I mean, what the hell? Again, if you think otherwise, hi, how you doing? Sir Moyen. If you think otherwise, there's a Discord call-in line and there's the Skype call-in line. I haven't used Skype yet. I just set it up today. I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, but Discord has worked in the past. So anyway, we'll take a look at this again. Keep getting back to this. So the Democrats aren't blaming me for this, right? The jobless rate is now the worst it's been in decades. In the Great Depression years of the 1930s, unemployment peaked at 25%. It's quite a bit, yeah? Shutdown has caused workers to have hours cut, been furloughed, or lose their jobs entirely. As non-essential businesses shutter, this is it again. God damn it. Okay, reporters, news anchors, you guys need to understand one thing, because none of you get it. Don't you have to go to school to become a reporter? Don't you have to educate yourself in order to speak on primetime? I guess you don't. You don't to be a news anchor. There is no such thing as a non-essential business, you dickheads. Every business that employs someone is essential. It's essential to that individual and to their families and to their debtors, the people who they owe money to. It is a circle, you fools. There is no such thing as a non-essential business. The only thing that is a non-essential business is one that doesn't exist. The business doesn't exist because apparently there's not a market for it, and nobody wants the product or the service, and so it closes its doors. That is a non-essential business. Any business that employs anybody is essential. It pays their salary. When are they going to get that clear? When are they going to... How come I don't hear people saying that? How come people aren't saying that there is no such thing as a non-essential business? I mean, maybe you'll hear it here and there. Definitely not on the mainstream media, that's for sure. Sorry, I get a little upset. That really pisses me off. In April, 20.5 million Americans lost their jobs, bringing the unemployment rate to 14.7%. Now, depending on when or not things are going to open up again, this number is going to continue to raise. People, we're going to see. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. We're going to see more and more of these protests. Like I said earlier in this stream, we had I think 20,000 people protesting today, and that's here in Germany, where people follow the rules. Germans love the rules. They go along with it. But even they are starting to go out and demonstrate against it. Wow, that's something. I mean, the French, vive la France, they go out and demonstrate against anything. They rip their government down to their knees. I mean, they burn shit. And they get their government to change things. But most of the time, people just kind of go along with it. They'll underneath their breath, at home, in the privacy of their own home, they will speak out against it, but that's about it. So these numbers will increase. Yeah. Let's see here. If numbers included workers who have been furloughed or put out of work temporarily, the rate would be nearly 20%. So we're getting close. More than 1 million American veterans filed jobless claims in April, the Bureau of Labor Statistics data show. Unemployment rates have soared in just a month from 4.4% in the month of March. Numbers for last month were also updated to show 855,000 people lost jobs instead of the 701,000 that was reported. Yeah. I mean, this can't come as a surprise to anybody, right? It's definitely not a surprise to anybody. Let's take a look here. I think this is the... there's another story here about a record 20.5 million jobs were lost in April as unemployment rates jumped to 14.7%. Okay, I'm not surprised. Nobody's surprised. The last thing that I got here, the last thing to talk about is this concept of sending in mail-in ballots to all California voters. Spark concerns. I mean, living overseas, I've voted by mail for the last 20 years. Not that I voted for that whole stretch. I voted a few times, but so why is there an issue with this? And that's voting by mail. Is there something else that I have missed or that I don't know too much about? California Governor Gavin Newsom on Friday signed an executive order that will send every registered voter in the state a mail-in ballot for November's presidential election, immediately raising concerns for Republicans that it could lead to fraud and abuse. Elections and the right to vote are foundational to our democracy, Newsom said in a statement. No Californian should be forced to risk their health in order to exercise their right to vote. Pussy. This guy's a pussy. America, home of the brave. If our democracy is so goddamn important and holy, don't you think people would risk anything for it? This guy's a pussy. Sorry, but that's what I think, you know. But you know, about fraud and abuse, still I don't really see the connection there. Yeah. Again, like I said, I have voted via a mail-in ballot for the last, since I've been away, 21 years. Military does it all the time. People, expats or people who are living outside of America during election time or might be out on business or in a different country during that time, they all do it. So why now? Why now are they talking about it? It could lead to fraud and abuse. I mean, what I understood is that if we have our elections done electronically, that could lead to abuse. That would be a nightmare. I mean, we can't even stop the Pentagon from being hacked. And you think they would have an online election run online, that would be safe? I mean, that's ludicrous. But a mail-in ballot, I don't know. The move is in response to the coronavirus. Yeah, of course. Yeah, right. We know it's because of the coronavirus. Yeah, which has shut down a number of in-person voting opportunities in primaries and local elections out of fear of the virus spreading. Newsom emphasized that Californians will continue to have access to in-person voting sites. Oh, wait a minute. You just said you shut them down. I'm confused. The move is did I read this wrong? The move is in response to the coronavirus pandemic, which has shut down a number of in-person voting opportunities in primaries and local elections. And then it says Newsom emphasized that Californians will still continue to have access to in-person voting sites. Isn't this a contradictory? We shut them down, but you still have access to them. The order by the Democratic governor sparked pushback from Republicans who have opposed the expansion of mail-in ballots out of fear it would lead to voter fraud and raise the prospect of a legal challenge. The Republican National Committee said it's reviewing its legal options to ensure the integrity of the election. To ensure the integrity of the election. That's comical. Let's see here. California Republicans have pointed to problems in the state with voter rolls and a motor voter program to register new voters that led to hundreds of thousands of discrepancies. Although the errors reviews did not allow anyone to vote who shouldn't have been allowed to. To mail out millions of ballots to voter rolls have proven to contain alarming errors throughout the state is not a task that these Democrats can adequately manage or safely execute. Well, of course they can't. It's the government. It's the government. There's going to be fuck-ups. There's going to be errors. The government's in charge of it. What do you think is going to happen, you fool? Who is she? Who said this? I gotta find this. Jessica Millen Patterson. You're an idiot. Sorry, had to get that off my chest. President Trump opposes the practice of voting by mail, alleging that it is prone to corruption. Mail ballots, they cheat. Okay, mail ballots can't cheat. People can cheat, but a ballot can't. Yeah, it's just a piece of paper. Let's see. Mail ballots are very dangerous for this country because of cheaters. They go collect them. They are fraudulent in many cases. Okay, so it's people. It's not the ballots. Let's get something right here. The president has not produced evidence of the voter fraud, he alleges. Yeah, it doesn't have to. It just has to say it. Then it's in people's minds. Newsom on Friday appeared to have some reservations himself about the plans. Mail-in ballots aren't a perfect solution for every person. Oh, this is the governor. Okay, just a minute. I called him a pussy like 4 or 5 times, so just a minute. Well, mail-in ballots aren't a perfect solution for every person. And I look forward to our public health experts and the Secretary of State and the legislature's continued partnership to create a safer in-person opportunities for Californians who aren't able to vote by mail, he said in a statement. Yeah, that's what he sounds like, this guy. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you can, educate me on this a little bit. Maybe there's things that I'm missing, which wouldn't be the first time. I'm just not quite sure about the concerns with the fraud and abuse. Okay, I'm not sure. Do people copy these, or is there some way to reproduce these and then make 5,000 of them or sell them to other people? You should be able to sell your vote, no? You should be able to sell your vote. If you don't want to vote and your neighbor next to you wants to vote, then give it to him. Sure, you can vote. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Just going to be another crooked, lying, thieving politician in office. Doesn't matter who it is. It's not going to affect me at all. I don't care. I am more affected by the person who runs my state than I am the president. The president really doesn't have a lot to say about how my state is run. The governor has a lot to say about how my state is run. And then below him, the mayor has a lot to say about how my town or city is run. But the president, federal government, who the fuck are they? They have no idea what my life is like. They don't live here. So here, take it. Give me $20 for it. Give me a beer. It should be your right to be able to do that, to sell your vote. Sell it to the highest bidder. Get some money out of it. So, anyway, that's it for today. I hope you had I hope you heard something that might have been new, perhaps, maybe. Something that you hadn't thought about before. I also hope you heard something that you agree with or even disagree with. It's great when we hear things that we disagree with, because then we can talk about it. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I'm wrong. Yeah. I'll say it again. I love to be challenged. I love my own thoughts to be challenged. Yeah, how I think things should be. I've had my mind changed a lot of times. I thought one way and I was pretty set in my ways, and then I was exposed to different thoughts that I had never thought of before. I'd never thought of it that way. That is uncomfortable. But I'll think about it. Yeah, it's uncomfortable when your thought processes or your thoughts are challenged, or where you stand or your beliefs are challenged. Most of the time, cognitive dissonance, people just don't listen. No matter what facts and figures you put in front of them, they don't care. This is blue. Well, actually, no, you see, it's red. I don't care what you say, it's blue. Even if the facts are staring them right at the face, they still refuse to change. And I guess I'm I'm fairly opposite of that. Yeah, I appreciate the challenge. I appreciate the intellectual arguments behind it because it helps me grow as a person, to have these types of conversations with other people. And it could be on any topic, really, any subject, which is why I really like the idea of a open phone line. Yeah, call in and talk about whatever you want. Honestly, I don't care, because I'm probably going to learn something out of it. It's not that I think I'm giving anything to you. Hopefully, I'm taking things from you. Hopefully, I can take something from you. Because in my life, in the work that I've done, and the people that I've met, I've taken something from almost everybody. Whether it be a thought that this person had that I had not thought of before, or how they saw this one topic or subject that I had never thought of. And it's like building blocks, and it helps build yourself and expand your mind. And believe you me, my mind needed expanding. I went to an American public school. I don't want to say an American. I went to a public school. I was taught what they wanted me to learn and how they wanted me to learn it. So I welcome these. So, oh, it's great. It looks like we have another follower. That's awesome. That's great. Well, hopefully somebody liked what they heard. So until next time, do your best, take care. If you can, spread the word a little bit. That would be great. Yeah. And I will see you next time. Okay. Ciao.
Every time I see you walking out my door,